Hello, everyone. I'm Nettie Owens. Welcome back to What Businesses Need to Know Right Now. Today, we're going to be talking about the experience that Diem Mooney has. And if you've been following Diem on LinkedIn like I have, then you're probably really excited to be able to have this conversation. So let's just give everyone else who hasn't been following you an overview. Diem was the CXO founder of Carpe Noctem, a consultancy firm which they brought to multi-million-dollar level, and then has helped others do the same. And most recently is the CXO of a large government IT solutions organization firm. That's kind of the big overarching businessy kind of stuff. What would you add to that?
So I am an IT psychologist by trade, so a business psychologist. So whenever I come at things from a very psychological standpoint versus, the traditional, metrics and, businessy side of things. So.
Excellent. I love that. I am fascinated when we can add that into the conversation, when we're not just looking at the dollars, but we're looking at how things work, the psychology, the neurology, all of that kind of stuff. It's so much more fun, so much more colorful, I think.
Sure, definitely.
All right. So from your perspective, putting that hat on, what would you say that businesses really truly need to know right now? You've got the psychology hat on. Where does that fit into this conversation?
Sure. So I would say there's a growing trend in focusing on employee experience, customer experience. That is a very psychological aspect to think about how someone feels when engaging with your company. And I feel, though, that it's been turned more into, again, another KPI, another metric that's like a checkoff list, saying, okay, we asked them and we kind of move on. The missing piece, though, is that as a psychologist, yes, we assess, we do observations, we talk to our clients, our patients to understand how they're feeling, but there's also an intervention piece. And where we take some kind of, methodology or framework, and we see how we can make that work for that person in order to give them the results they're looking for, or help them grow and develop in some way. I think there's a missing piece in the leadership's ability within an organization to intervene effectively and to communicate with their employees beyond simply spitting out what, hey, this was your experience, I heard you. But how do you actually take that information and beyond, again, some change manager saying, hey, look, we did this, we changed this for you, we gave you a raise. Well, how do you then nurture that relationship? How do you then talk with your employees to continue to help them grow, coach them, develop them, and go a little bit beyond, the very high level tip of the iceberg experience.
So what are some of those ways that you would recommend or that you've seen be effective? So, got it. We've got that assessment. This is what the employees want. These are the changes they want now. What are the ways that you make that happen?
Sure. So some of it comes from hiring the right leaders, because you need those, those people who are interacting with that employee day to day, that resource, that open door in order to engage with them and to mentor them and to coach them. I found that as a consultant and a psychologist that goes into companies and speaks on experience and helps them to facilitate the kind of conversations, that it's not something internally. They have to go find an external consultant or someone to do it, because the leaders that they have are only, again, looking at performance metrics and ROI and how much can this person produce in a certain amount of time. And even though they've seen the employee engagement survey a million times, they see that there's challenges, they don't know how to do anything about it. So it starts within your organization and your hiring of leaders and what leaders actually mean, because technically a leader doesn't have to be a manager. Leader can have no authority whatsoever and still make an influence, but still training and facilitating certain types of guidance on how you should lead and how do you then improve experience through leadership.
So I'm hearing, hiring the right people, or hiring leaders or training those leaders to be able to represent, what experience you want your employees to have. And then
giving them that ability to do it is another thing too.
The ability to do it.
Yeah.
And looking for those outside resources. So this is really important, because a lot of times I feel like I see organizations say, we have this manager, they're going to take the reins on it. And they already have all of their managerial experience that they have to
Exactly.
be managing day to day. And now you're saying, okay, and you're going to lead this change management improvement and
Sure.
somehow be objective at it. So I'm so glad
Exactly.
that bring in that consultant, bring in that next set of eyes that can say, this is how we put all these pieces together.
Yes.
Why is that so important right now? What's happening that this has become like bubbling up to the top
Sure.
of priority?
Well, because we see a lot of, for the past couple of years, again, with the trend in growing in employee experience, with the trend going in DEI and all of this, transformation, all of this data is being collected. So there's proof that is a problem. There's proof that it impacts productivity. There's proof that it impacts retention, therefore, impacts the bottom line. However, beyond simply knowing it is a problem, very few are able to actually say, hey, yes, we've intervened, we've done X, Y, and Z. Long term, it's going to improve X, whatever, and that our employees have a consensus here that their experience has actually been improved. So aside from maybe picking a few poster children in your company and say, hey, say this on TV, it's not something that we can actually really validate. We have all these people saying, hey, look, we believe in DEI, we have rainbow logos, and we post about Black Lives Matter. That means our employees are happy. But then it turns out when any employee speaks, like, no, that's not actually not the truth. We don't feel that diversity and inclusion in our experience with the company.
Right.
Those are the types of challenges that we're having.
So you're saying no more performative measures, right?
No, yeah, exactly. Yeah, we're beyond that point. No more assessments. We get it. We know there's a problem, except for if it's very specific to target, maybe to understand or more understand a problem. So the problem be by your high level. You say, okay, there's an inclusion problem. Yes, then go in and maybe do some more investigation to understand the pain points, understand the roles and impacts. All that's fine. Of course, I'm a researcher, never against that. But beyond that, you have to start actually acting on it. So creating action plans. If the consultant helps you do that, perfect, because that person is a subject matter expert in that area. Like you said, a manager is focusing on a million and one things. Me as a consultant, I know this. I wrote dissertation on it. We're getting a DBA in it. I studied this, so I know that, and I can be able to come in and intervene objectively. Bring those people in if you need to, and then be willing to provide the resources and the budget to actually implement change.
Well, I think you're hitting a lot of pain points here, probably making folks uncomfortable going, oh, I thought it was enough. I thought it was enough just to put that rainbow on the logo.
Absolutely not.
Okay, so give us, if you can, one tip that you would say if a manager or an organization could make this one change, what would you recommend?
I would say
on the spot, so I'm just
no problem. I would say engage with your employees early and often. Don't wait until a problem happens and then begin to start scrambling. Engage with them, meaning, hear them out, have an open forum to understand, some of the challenges, and be proactive as far as interventions, be proactive as far as how do you communicate with them, and just build that sense of community, because community is not, hey, we all have to be here because we're getting paid. Community is a shared culture, it's a shared belief, and is a sense of this person brings value to me, I bring value to them, and just make sure that you're engaging with that again as often as possible.
Excellent. I think that's fantastic recommendation, and that really ties back to that sense of belonging.
Absolutely.
Gumta has talked about that as critical, and it's what everyone is saying. Like, if I'm going to stay in this position, it's because I feel like I belong here.
Exactly. Paycheck's not enough anymore. In this climate, it's just not.
Absolutely. This is fascinating. Thank you so much for sharing what you have so well researched and living your life walking out. How can people get in touch with you, Diem?
Sure. So easiest way of reaching out to me directly would be my LinkedIn. I do try to answer every message as quickly as I can. But yeah, definitely feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn.
Excellent. Thank you. For those of you watching and listening, if you enjoyed this, please share your comments below. We'd love to hear what your experience has been and how you engage with your employees to improve your company. Thank you so much for being here, and we'll see you next time.